Hello and welcome back to Overbooked. I'm Amanda and today I'm going to be recommending books for each of the Eternals that are found in the Marvel Eternals movie. Yes. I know that the Marvel Eternals movie was not for everyone, okay? I understand that some people didn't like it. I know that some people are like, oh, it just wasn't like other Marvel movies. Listen, I don't care what you have to say. I loved it. I loved the Eternals. I love Marvel, and I love this new phase of Marvel. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what is coming. Like, Eternals was one of those movies where I was just in the movie theater the entire time. The whole span of like 2 hours or whatever, how long that movie is. My brain was working the entire time, trying to figure out everything. I loved it. I loved the history of Earth incorporated into the movie. I loved the history of the Eternals and their creation. I loved that. I loved how true events were tied in to the movie. I just loved it so much. I loved it. I love it. I'm a huge fan. So I thought that I would like to put together some book recommendations for my fave characters, the Eternals themselves. And, you know, based on what I saw in the film, some of their personality traits, maybe some of their skills, and just recommend them books that, you know, in a pretend world that they would read and tell me that they loved, so whatever. All of these books are going to be books that I have read, so that is the limited scope that I have, but I wanted to make sure that I had books that I had read and could relate to and describe when going through these. So if you have books that you think would be better suited that you've read, I would love to hear them in the comments. Without further ado, let's get started. We're gonna start with Athena, who is a warrior. She is like just this badass chick. She doesn't do a lot of talking, but she is like one of the fighters of the group. She is super good at fighting and she is just badass, okay? But she is really plagued by memories. Like memories of people dying, she just keeps saying everyone's gonna die, and it's no bueno, okay? She's not having a good time with this and holding on to the memories, and then like sometimes they escape her, sometimes they come back. It's a raw deal for Athena. To give her a book, I thought that she would resonate a lot with the Memory Police, because the Memory Police is all about memories and remembering things and tangible memories. The Memory Police takes place in this place that slowly, day by day, week by week, things are taken from people by the Memory Police. And the next day, they no longer remember that existence. So for example, I think one of my favorite parts of the Memory Police is when the Memory Police takes, I think, a rose, like roses are erased from everyone's memory, and they have to dispose of the rose. And so they have to like tear up everybody's roses, destroy everything, so no one can ever remember what it was. The description of that is like the river was like flowing with these like rose petals, and it was like this beautiful like red color, and it was just I just wish I could see it in real life. But that is the premise, and like the main character is desperately trying to hold on to something because she knows her parents used to fight the Memory Police, try to grasp on to some of these memories. And I feel like Athena would have a connection with that woman, because I think Athena is trying to understand what her memories mean. And just like the main character in the Memory Police is trying to hold on to these memories and understand why they're trying to take them away. I think it would just be a really fitting book for her. Athena, let me know if you read it. So the next Eternal that I would like to suggest a book for is Ajax. So Ajax is like the leader of the Eternals. She is like, I don't want to say their mother really, but she's really like just their leader. Everyone looks up to her, they listen to her, yada, yada, yada. But one of her powers is that she can heal people. She can like, you know, if you have a cut, she can instantly heal it. So I thought a good book for her would be Sharks in the Time of Saviors, because that is what's rumored to be one of the main character's like traits in that book, is that he can heal people. And that's what he's like trying to discover. In this pursuit of this power in the book, in the Sharks of Time Saviors, the main character loses like kind of his standing among the people around him. And I feel like Ajax is kind of coming to that in the movie, where she's like, how do I handle this power that I have and then also balance the leadership that I possess? I don't know. That one might be a stretch. I'm really just connecting the power that her and this other character have, but still think it's a good one. So my next one is Cersei. I loved her. She was great. You know, quiet and, you know, just, she's quiet but powerful. And she doesn't realize it. And I'm like, Cersei, you got this. I think the easy route would have been Cersei by Madeline Miller, but I was like, nah. So Cersei is underestimated. She is powerful. She is what I would think steps flawlessly into the role of leader, and when she's ready, and she loves history because she works at the History Museum and she dates a history professor. So it's like, okay. So what I thought a great book for her would be Cleopatra, A Life by Stacey Schaff. I think that Cleopatra would be a perfect book for Cersei because Cleopatra, like Cersei, is underestimated. She is a natural leader when she is ready, and she is just a powerful force to be reckoned with. And I think that both of these women are just so cool and so powerful. I wish they could link up. I hope Cersei met Cleopatra in some life. That'd be so sick. Okay, so Icarus was hard because I don't know how I feel about him. And I don't want to get too far into the depths of the movie. But Icarus is like, he reminds me of like Superman, to be completely honest. And he can shoot lasers out of his eyes. He's like a fighter, he's a warrior, yada, yada, yada. And he is madly in love, I think, with Cersei. Which is not, I don't think this is really a spoiler, but if you don't want to know literally anything about this movie, stop watching right now and I'll like do one of these when I'm done, okay? So Icarus and Cersei like have like a love for each other. They even get married, but eventually Icarus just leaves her and just doesn't respond to her. But then when these deviants are back on Earth, they're reunited for this short amount of time. And like in the trailer, you'll see Ajax tells Icarus they only have 7 days. So Icarus only has 7 days with the love of his life, Cersei. 7 days in June, my friends. 7 days in June. I know it might be a stretch, okay? But hear me out. I think from what I saw from Icarus, he is deep down just a softie. And he loves Cersei with all of his heart. And I feel like he would connect with the male character in 7 Days in June. And I think that they would have so much in common, and it would be great. And I think that he would really enjoy that story. 7 Days in June follows this couple, or these two people, I should say. And they were a couple when they were in high school, but this event leads them to drift apart, and they don't ever really connect again until one day at this book conference. And then they're together in this short span of time, 7 days, and trying to figure out what comes next for them. And I just think that it just fits Icarus so well. So Icarus, get reading. Get your romance fill, okay? So then the next one is Druid. He was a little harder, okay? So Druid is our Eternal who can control people's minds. He can like control, I guess, people. Like he can take over and control their movements. But he's also he's moody. He's like kind of just like to himself. And also I think he has a crush on Makari. So I also think he's a little bit of a softie. But the book I ended up choosing for him might also be a stretch because I was very unsure. I was gonna like suggest it's a book of poetry because I was like, okay, this man is just moody and dark and this is what he wants to do. I don't know. But what I think I decided to do is suggest A Place for Us. So A Place for Us is about this Indian American Muslim family, and there's a lot of rift and like tension in this family, which you could say is also present in the family of Eternals. There's like some underlying tension and fractures. And the family comprises of 2 daughters and 1 son, and the son is estranged. And on the day of one of the daughters' weddings, he comes back and reemerges. And then it forces everyone to think about what has happened that led to them all being apart and his estrangement, essentially. So I felt like it kind of fit Druid well, because he also is a little bit estranged, and estranged, and he knows that there's like tension within like their family, quote unquote, the Eternals. So I thought that this might be a really good book for him. It's also like a moody and dark book, so I felt like that was also fitting for him to read. So hopefully he likes my recommendation. Okay, Gilgamesh is one of the ones I found. He was like my first thing that I figured out. And let me pull up the book. So Gilgamesh is also a fighter. He is like one of the fighters along with Icarus and Athena, and he's very strong. And he's actually the one who volunteers to look after Athena after she has like her breakdowns with like her memory and stuff. When they find him, he's like, they're in like this excluded like place, whatever, and he is like doing all this like cooking, like outdoor cooking. He has all this setup, and they have this whole meal together, and he talks about how he made all the food and he made everything that's on the table. So I thought that it would be great if he read The Third Plate, Field Notes on the Future of Food, because I think he would find this book fascinating. It's all about how to really rethink how you grow your food, eat your food, consume your food, where you buy your food, how you make your food, everything about that. So I think that he would just really enjoy this perspective and use like a lot of it in his day-to-day. I think he would, for real. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was a perfect match, and I would love to have something of his that he made. I'd love to have a seat at his dinner table after he reads this book. So enjoy. Kingo was a little hard because I just don't think I've read enough to really fit his personality type. But Kingo is, well, I guess he's also one of the fighters. He has like things that come out of his hands. I think there was like, boo boo. I think I don't know what that was. He just is, I don't know, he's good at fighting. But he's also like he's like a Bollywood movie star for generations. He just keeps like becoming his own like grandson and son and whatever, so on and so forth. So I wanted to find him a book that was like full of like that magical like star quality, dripping with like just fanciness and like celebrity-esque. I don't know. So I had a couple choices I wanted to go with. One to Watch was one of them, Evelyn Hugo, but then what I ultimately decided was Crazy Rich Asians, because I think that is just like, it's full of glamour, it's full of just like celebrities and like higher status and just the world of like glamour, and I just feel like Kingo would love that. I also think that it would provide him inspiration for his next Bollywood film, and I would love to get front row seats. So Sprite is up next, and Sprite is one of the Eternals I felt really like there's the most like I felt the most sympathy for. Like, she's just a child who is centuries old, stuck in a child's body. Like, just I just felt so terrible for her. But she can like, I don't know how to describe her power. Like, she can like duplicate herself and others. She can like transform herself to make herself look like somebody else. Like, when we first see her in the movie, she like she like makes herself look like I'm assuming like a mid-20s person, and she's on a date. But it gets broken when like the person like touches her hand, because it's not real. But I just felt a lot of like just sadness for her, because she wants, I think, desperately to be taken seriously. And I don't think the other Eternals don't take her seriously. I just like, she just is seen on Earth just not as powerful as the other ones are, or I don't know, it's hard to explain. I just felt bad for her, okay? And I felt like she would really connect to the New Wilderness because there's a character in there who is probably around her age. And so the New Wilderness is like this book where this group of people, to escape like the pollution, set out on this journey into like the wilderness where they're gonna survive in this fresh air, yada yada yada. This character that I think she would relate to, her mother like leaves her and she's kind of like left on her own, and the group kind of like underestimates her, but she is really smart, she is observant, and she makes a lot of decisions that I think not save the group, but definitely help them along the way. And I don't know where the group would have been without her, which is kind of how I feel about Sprite. And I feel like the group kind of, I don't know how to feel about her, like how the group feels about Sprite. I think they kind of forget about her or underestimate her. They know her ability and they respect her, but it's almost like they kind of don't expect her to step up and be this like person that can provide solutions. So I think that Sprite would really enjoy this book and the perspective that that character brings. So then two more. Here we go. The next one is Makari, and I don't know if I'm saying her name right. She is the one who can like run super fast stuff, which I love to see, that representation. And also I just fucking loved her. I loved her in Druid, or Droog, whatever. I loved them. I wanted to see more of them. Why weren't they in the movie more? Why didn't they have more screen time? I don't understand. I had a couple things I wanted to maybe do for her book selection. She obviously can run fast, because that's her power. So I thought about like Fire on the Track, which is about the first Olympic team to have girls. And then I also thought about this romance novel that features a deaf character, because I thought that Makari and Druid were really soft with each other, and I feel like she would enjoy like a romance novel that had that kind of representation. So I still think that would be a good one. And it's like only when it's you, us, only when it's us, something along those lines. But what I decided to go with was The Library book by Susan Orlean, because Makari is very interested in the things around her and like collecting things and reading about things. And I think the library book would have been a very interesting book to her because she could have like collected a lot of information from it. It's about the LA library and the crime that happened when it got set on fire, and also just about the history of libraries and how they came to be. And she kind of has a library of her own in like the Eternals like spaceship thing, and I just feel like she would really appreciate that book, the history it provides and the information it provides. And then I feel like she would also just go try to get something from the LA library and then come back to her own library. So that's what I would recommend to her. And then the last Eternal is Festos, which I loved. I loved him. He is the like brain of the group. He's a scientist. He's always trying to come up with the next technology for the human race. Probably getting a little too ahead of themselves. Like, I think at one point Ajax has to tell him to like probably start simpler. Like they can't just like advance right away. But he is just so sweet and just so interested in the technology and information around him. So what I thought would be a really interesting book for him to read would be Clara and the Sun. I didn't super enjoy this book, but I think that Festos would, because Clara and the Sun is all about this AI technology that is set up to be friends with children. So I think he loves the human race and he loves Earth, and I think he'd be intrigued to know how this AI is set up to be beneficial for children and how it functions and how it works and the benefits that it provides to these human children. And I also think he would particularly like this book because it's told in the viewpoint of the AI. So I think he would find that just incredibly interesting and fascinating to read. So that would be my suggestion for Festos. Those are the books that I would recommend to the Eternals. I am so excited to see where this next journey comes for Marvel. I am here for it. I'm excited. I am just pumped. I am jazzed. I'm here for it. I am letting my inner nerd just like shine. I just love this period of time. If you watched the Eternals, let me know if you loved it or if you hated it. And also, if you think you have a better book for the Eternals to read, please let me know. Like I said, I was just trying to pick from books that I've already read, so it kind of made it a little limited, especially in some instances that I might have pointed out where I just feel like I didn't have enough books to choose from, but I really wanted to choose from a book that I had read. So please, in the comments below, let me know what you would provide to the Eternals to read, and tell me why. Tell me why. I'd love to know. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys next time.